All right, guys, welcome to our first attempt at kind of a little bit different way of us to go over the test. We don't have a lot of time to spend in the classroom going over the things that you missed on the test. So I wanted to make a video, kind of walk you through each problem. And what you're going to do is watch the part of the video that goes with the problem that you missed. And you're going to watch the video, you're going to work through that problem with me. And then at the end of that problem, I'm going to give you a new problem. And that new problem is the one that you need to solve. And if you do that correctly, I'll give you credit on the test for, partial credit on the test for the problem that you missed. All right, so I need you to follow along through the problem. When you're done, you're going to do the new problem. And just like always, you're gonna write me a sentence and tell me what you did wrong on the test. You know, maybe you forgot to cut a circle in half, or maybe you multiplied by the diameter instead of the radius. Whatever it is that you did wrong, you're gonna fix it, and you're gonna tell me what that was. So question number 1, find the circumference and the area of the circle. Use 3.14 for pi, and it gives us this picture with a circle. So the first thing that we need to do is we have a circle, so I'm gonna write down the radius and the diameter. The radius is not what the picture gives me. The picture gives me a line that goes all the way across, which means that that's my diameter. So that's 30, and my radius is half of it because that goes halfway across. So that means my radius is 15. Now to get the circumference, if you remember, circumference is diameter times, whoops, sorry, I'm writing the wrong thing. Circumference, C equals, we have to take the diameter and we have to times that by pi. So I look at my problem, my diameter is 30, and instead of pi, the problem tells me to use 3.14. So 30 times 3.14 is going to equal my circumference. So on my calculator, 30 times 3.14, and I get 94.2. So I'm gonna write that equals 94.2. And our units are feet, so I'll put feet after it and kind of write this over here under circumference. So 94.2 feet. There's my circumference. Now I need to find the area of this same circle. And my area formula, area equals radius times pi. So I look at my circle, my radius is 15. So my area equals 15 times 3.14. And I just plug that in my calculator. 15 times 3.14 equals 706.5. So 706.5 feet squared, because we're doing area. Now this question, what a lot of you missed was you did the circumference great, and then you got to the area, and for some reason, you cut this in half. It's not a half circle, it's a full circle. So I don't want to cut my area in half because I'm looking for the area of a full circle. So this answer is a great answer. It's what I want it to be. All right, if you missed this problem on the test, on your test correction form, I'm going to have you draw a new circle. I'm going to have you make a diameter. Oops, maybe I shouldn't have told you that's the diameter. And we are going to say that this length going across the circle is 46 feet. 46 feet. So now go find the circumference, go find the area of this circle, show me that you know how to do that, and I'll give you some partial credit back on the test. Okay, number 2, find the diameter of a circle with a circumference of 18.84 inches. Now this one I know confused a few of you because you're going backwards. We're trying to find the diameter, and we already know the circumference. And you had a formula for that because we know to get from the diameter to the circumference, I get bigger. So I have to multiply by pi. But I'm going backwards. I already know the circumference is 18.84. I want to go backwards to figure out the diameter. So all I have to do is take that circumference, 18.84, and divide it by pi. You had a formula that said diameter was equal to the circumference divided by pi. So I'm plugging these in. My diameter equals 18.84 divided by 3.14. And when I do that, I'm going to find out that my diameter, I divide that on my calculator, my diameter is 6, which is what I'm looking for. That's what the question asked, which means my radius is 3, which is something else you should have found on this problem, just because there's a circle, and that's part of what we do. So try this one on your own. Remember, you're working backwards from circumference, but this time, what I want you to do is I want you to find the diameter. So find the diameter if the circumference is equal to, let's go with, let's say 37 point what? 68? That looks good to me. 37.68 inches. And what I want you to do is find the diameter for that circle. And I'll give you partial credit. Okay, number 3. The circumference of a Frisbee for the first game is how many centimeters greater than the circumference of the Frisbee used for the second game? So here's my first game, here's my second game. I've got 2 circles. So first thing I'm going to write down, radius, diameter. Radius, diameter. My radius, it doesn't give me. It gives me a diameter of 27.3. And this number's not as nice. 27.3, if I want to know the radius, all I have to do is divide by 2. So my radius is 13.65. And on my second Frisbee, my diameter is 22.5. So my radius is 11.25. Again, I just did diameter divided by 2. So I have the information I want on my circles. It wants to know how much bigger is this circumference than this circumference. Well, to do that, I need to find both of the circumferences. So the circumference equals diameter times pi. So this one's going to equal my diameter, 27.3, times 3.14. And that's going to equal 27.3 times 3.14. I get 85.722. 85.722. Now the second circle, circumference equals diameter times pi. So that equals 22.5 times 3.14. So 22.5 times 3.14. I enter and I get 70.65. So this one equals 70.65. Now I need to finish the question. How much bigger is this one than this one? So I'm just going to subtract those two numbers. 85.722 minus 70.65, because that tells me how much bigger. And it's 15.072 centimeters bigger. So 15.072 centimeters bigger than the first circle. Okay? Not too bad. So again, if you missed this question, in order to get credit for it, I'm going to write this one down on the back because there's not enough room there. In order to get credit for it, you're going to do the same thing. I want to know how much bigger, how much greater is circle 1 than circle 2. I guess the circumference of circle 1 and 2. So how much bigger is their circumferences? And the first circle, I'll just give you a circle right here, and let's say that this one, this length right here is 27 point, what was the old one? Oh, that was 27.3. So let's make it 27.8 centimeters. And the second circle, I'm going to make, again, I don't want to use too close, so we had 22.25. So let's actually make this one 18.5. So I want to know how much bigger is the circumference of this circle than this circle. Do that problem, get it right, and I'll give you partial credit back on the test. Okay, number 4. Find the circumference and the area of a circle with a radius of 3 inches. So I already know my radius is 3, which is nice because my diameter is 6. That's easy. And maybe you notice on the test, wait a minute, if my diameter is 6, that's just this circle. And I already know the circumference, but maybe don't. Maybe you didn't recognize that. So we're looking for circumference first. Circumference equals diameter times pi. My diameter is 6 because that's twice the radius. So 6 times 3.14. And that's going to equal 18.84 inches. So I write that down in circumference, 18.84 inches. Area equals radius times pi. So my radius is 3. 3 times 3 times 3.14, which is equal to 3 times 3 times 3.14, 28.26. So my area is 28.26 inches squared. All right, if you want credit for this question, I need you to do the same thing. Find the circumference and the area, but instead of a circle with a radius of 6, I want you to do it with a circle that has a radius of 8. So there's a circle with a radius of 8. Find the circumference, find the area, and I'll give you partial credit. Okay, moving on. Number 5. A lot of people miss this question, even though they did a lot of the work right. They just didn't quite finish it correctly. Each circle below has a diameter of 12. So from here to here is 12. From here to here is 12, which means that from the top to the bottom is also 12. So that gives me some information. It tells me that this side is 12 tall. It also tells me that this distance is 2 of the circles wide. So that distance is 24 going across. Let's do the rectangle first. I think that's the easiest part because we have this big dark rectangle and we need to find the area of it. And then we need to subtract the white circles. Well, the area of a rectangle is just length times width or height. I like height better. And so my length is 24. My height is 12. So 24 times 12, 24 times 12 is 288. So 288 is the entire rectangle. But I don't want the entire rectangle. I just want the shaded part. So that means I need to get rid of these circles. Well, first I need to know the area of these circles. So let's say that area is radius times pi. And we skipped a little bit of a step here. We knew the diameter was 12, but I was working fast and I didn't write down the radius of 6. And that's something I need to find the area here. So 6 times 3.14. 6 times 6 times 3.14. 113.04. 113.04 is the area of one circle, but I have 2 of them. This one is also 113.04. And those 2 circles I want to subtract from the rectangle. So I take 288 and I'm going to subtract 113.04. That gets rid of one circle, but a lot of you forgot the second circle. So minus 113.04, and I get 61.92. So the shaded area is 61.92 inches squared. All right, if you missed that question, I want you to do another one, same shape. We've got a rectangle with these 2 circles, but instead of a diameter of 12, I want you to do it if the diameter is, let's go with 18. So pretend these same circles are there, they just have a diameter of 18. What is the area of the shaded region? Good luck. Okay, number 6. Find the area of the figure below. Another one that a lot of people missed that I think you missed for kind of a silly reason, but we'll get to that here and you'll kind of see the mistake if you don't already know what it was that you made. I've got 2 shapes. When I look at this, I see a trapezoid right here. And I also see a half circle. So I better write down my information of the circle. Diameter is 4. Radius is 2. I know it's 4 because all the way across that is 4. So my radius is 2, my diameter is 4. And I've got this half circle. I need the area of that. So area equals radius times pi. But it's a half circle, guys. So I've got to divide that by 2. So my radius, well, I better write this down so you know what I'm doing. My radius is 2. So 2 times 3.14 divided by 2 is just going to equal 6.28. So that's the area of my half circle. A lot of you forgot to cut it in half. Now I need to add that to the area of my trapezoid. Well, this length is 4. This length is 6. Some of you missed it because you used 6 or you used 4. But I don't want to use either of those. This one's too short, this one's too long. Right in the middle is 5. So let's use 5. 2 times 5 is 10. And I'm done with the trapezoid. This has an area of 10. This has an area of 6.28. Together, those areas are 16.28 meters squared. Okay, again, if you missed number 6, I want you to do a different problem. So we're going to call this number 6, and I'm going to give you a triangle, and I'm going to call this length 8, and I'm going to call this length 12, and I'm going to connect a half circle. And I want you to find the area of the shape. Good luck. Okay, number 7. You release a ball with a radius of 1.5 inches into a pipe. So this little ball has a radius of 1.5 and it has a diameter of 3 because it's twice the radius. How many times will the ball rotate before it falls out the other end of the pipe? This one was hard for a lot of people because they weren't sure what it meant as far as how far they knew the ball would rotate. Well, if you think about a ball rolling, and I'm trying to find one really quick, this will work. No, it won't because I can't take it off. Okay, if you think about a ball rolling, if this is my circle or my ball, when it rolls, we want to know how far it's going to roll. It doesn't roll the radius, that's just how wide it is. It doesn't roll the diameter, that's just how wide the whole ball is. When it rolls, if this part's on the bottom, as it rolls, it kind of goes around the circle till that part is down at the bottom again. So the distance that the ball will roll is actually the circumference. So that's what we want to know, is how many times the circumference will fit going down this pipe. So first thing I want to find is the circumference, which is diameter times pi, which is 3 times 3.14. So if I do that here, 3 times 3.14, I get 9.42. So the circumference of my ball is 9.42. That means every time it rolls, it's going to go 9.42 inches. It's going to roll all the way around the ball. And I want to know how many times that'll happen in 5 feet. That's kind of hard to do with feet and inches because these are inches. So we're gonna turn this 5 feet into inches by saying every foot of the 5 feet is 12 inches. So that means that instead of 5 feet, this is 60 inches long. Well, how many times does 9.42 fit into 60? 60 divided by 9.42. 6.36 blah, 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 blah. A big ugly decimal. So it's going to roll about 6.37 times as it goes down this pipe. It's one of my favorite questions we do all year long. Now, what I want you to do, same pipe. This pipe is 5 feet long, but instead of a ball that's 1.5 inches in a radius, I want you to do the same problem, but the radius of the ball, I want you to pretend is 1.75 inches. So if the ball is 1.75 inches, how many times will it roll down the same pipe? Good luck. Okay, last question. The one I thought everybody would get right, but a simple mistake kept a lot of people from getting this one. The heart-shaped card below is made up of a square and 2 semicircles. What is the area of the card? Well, I have a square. That's easy because this side is 8, this side is 8. A square equals length times height, which is just 8 times 8, which is just 64. So this part is 64. Now I just need to figure out the circles. And I know that the radius of those circles, because this length is 8, this length is 8, which means the diameter is 8, which means my radius is 4. So to find the area, radius times pi equals 4 times 4 times pi. 4 times 4 times pi, 4 times 4 times 3.14 is 50.24. Now I need to be careful because this 50.24 is the area of a circle, but these are half circles. And a lot of you used this number, but you doubled it. Once for this half circle, once for this half circle. This isn't a half circle, this is a full circle, which is what these two make if I put them together. So all I need to do is add this one and this one together. If you want to do the half circles, I have to divide this by 2 because this half circle is half of this, which is 25.12, and this half circle is 25.12. Now I can add all those together. 64 plus this, which is just 64 plus the 50.24. So 114.24 centimeters squared should be your answer. Those half circles messed up a couple of you. Okay, here's what I want you to do. Instead of this same shape, I'm going to give you a new shape and I want you to find the area. The new shape looks similar. In the middle is a square with a length of 10. And on all 4 sides is a half circle. So find the area. Find the area of this shape. Sorry about my Chinese half circles. I think you'll be okay. Good luck. Once you're done with fixing the ones that you missed, come give me your test corrections and I'll see what I can do about getting you back some points.